All set there. I'll fill in for
Mayor Jackson.
Mayor Jackson.
Yeah.
And we'll call the museum January 6th committee meeting to order. The first thing on the agenda, I'd like to remind everyone it's our own responsibility to close any pecuniary interest you may have on today's agenda. The next item on the agenda is no delegations and action items. Kathy, please.
Okay, so the first action item, we have 3 action items today. The first one is in regards to our request for deaccessioning of items from the archives. So again, as part of Healthy Museum Collection Standards, this is something that has been brought forward in the past, and the list of items that are being asked for deaccessioning are attached as well from the archives at this point.
The recommendation reads that the items in the attached listing be approved for deaccessioning for the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center's archival collection. And just have a mover or seconder for the motion. Moved by Ann, second by Dave. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Thank you.
Okay. Now the second item is, again, it's another request for deaccessioning of items, but these items in particular are items that are in collections as opposed to artifacts. So the same type of recommendation then.
The recommendation reads that the items in the attached listing be approved for deaccessioning from the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center's collection. Any mover for the motion? Moved by Bob, by Ann. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you.
Okay. So the third item we have, if Council will recall during our budget presentations earlier this year, we're looking at a cost of $40,000 to redevelop the Last Frontier exhibition area in the permanent gallery space, which is an homage to Bruce County as Last Frontier pioneer area, as well as in conjunction with the 150th celebrations. So the revenue breakdown for that in the budget was comprised of 2 areas of revenue. One would be from an existing reserve account for $20,000, and the other was in the form of a $20,000 sponsorship. Enbridge is very supportive of going and wanting to support this project, this initiative moving forward. However, they had asked us if we would be agreeable to a payment plan with them because they couldn't commit to $20,000 for a 1-year period. We have entered into agreements like this with Enbridge in the past. They have been a very good supporter of the museum since 2008. They've supported many projects, so what we're asking is that we would receive $5,000 this year, and that we would borrow funds from the working capital reserve, and then those funds would be paid back through Enbridge's donations on a yearly basis going forward until the $20,000 is paid up.
Recommendation reads that the funding of $15,000 be borrowed from the working capital reserve and repaid as sponsorship revenue over a 3-year period, 18, 19, and 20, in equal amounts of $5,000 and built into the respective yearly budgets. Have a mover for the motion. Moved by Dave, seconded by Ann. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? That's carried.
Excellent. Okay. So the next items that we have in regards to the report are centered around our information items. So business sponsorship report, we've been fairly active in securing funds, upcoming funds. So I had mentioned a couple of these previously, but through Heritage Canada, we have received confirmation of 2 sets of funding, $51,600 for the First Nations exhibition and $15,000 for the feasibility study. I'm very happy about both of those. The $15,000 for the feasibility study was the entire ask of what we asked, and the $51,600 was a portion of what we had asked. So we're very pleased that those funds have come in, and that we'll be able to offset our costs through that. OPG also has committed funds for 2017 programming. As you can see, our Family Heritage Day, our Eco Explorers, and the main feature exhibit for the summer. Enbridge was the pending. That was in the previous report. 500 through Hampton Court, through our Adventure Talks, and Bruce Power has committed and firmed up their $60,000 commitment for our First Peoples Gallery as well. So basically, they will give us $30,000 over a 2-year period, and we have already received the first $30,000 of the $60,000 payment. As far as pending goes, at this point, we have an existing application with CP. for our Riding the Rails exhibit. You might recall that we also had an ask to CN that was declined, but CP, so far the application has come back and they said that they are looking at it, and it might take a little while for them to give us an answer, which is, in my opinion, a good sign rather than a no thank you. So I will bring forward updates on that as we move through the year, and you'll see this change as we go through and confirm more funds to offset our budget in 2017. The next area that we have is our collections update, and many of you recall last year, around this time last year, I spoke about the county art collection and the fact that the county has a significant art collection that they have been caretakers of for several years now. The original collection started back in the 80s. In total, we have 84 works in the collection, and it was our mandate this year to have our collection staff come out and properly catalog and record that collection. So our collection staff was busy in the county buildings, at the homes, and at the library, cataloging, photographing all of the collection, and I'm happy to say that that project has been completed. As part of our art opening, our juried art show that's opening on Saturday, this coming Saturday, what we wanted to do was we're taking new pieces that have come in, but we've also selected approximately 10 pieces from the past year's first place winners. So they will be showcased and highlighted as well in conjunction to this exhibition. So when you go through the spaces, you might see a frame that says, you know, this piece is on display, and just so that you know, the frames that are being used are part of the items, the frames that have been deaccessioned from the collection. So were actually artifact at one point in time. But the point of this is to make sure that we recognize the significance of the county's collection, that we catalog it, we treat it as a collection, and that at some point it is our hope that we would be able to do something more with it in the lines of making it more accessible in the form of an actual digital exhibition. So that's a lot of work that's been done in regards to that area. And then, of course, the accommodation plan, as part of that, we had a first step recommendation was to consolidate our off-site storage. We're really thankful and grateful to the Ontario Works Group under Dave McDonald's direction in assisting with our maintenance staff and our collection staff and archival staff, who we've managed to, again, we're out of GC Houston's location right now. That was the first step. The second step was at our off-site storage location. We diligently have been moving things back and forth, and also taking a look at what was held there, what things that we could deaccession, what things that we needed to keep, rehousing of some of the materials, because some of the especially the archaeological material, the boxes they were in needed to be rehoused. So we have managed to be able to bring some things back to site at the museum facility, as well as bring things to the storage location in Walkerton. And it is, we're really on track that once the weather clears in the spring, we have approximately 1.5 areas that we'll be able to clean out and finally bring all of those materials to the location at the jail site. So that's exciting news for us and the staff. From an education perspective, we are, continued on with our holiday programming. As you are aware, we were down a resource in that area. Happy to report that we have hired for that position, and the individual will be starting in January. Next week. But we were able to manage to carry on through existing staff and through the help of a staff member from the social services area to assist us with some of our holiday programming, in particular the preschool programming, as well as being able to do some of the educational programming as well. And we'll start ramping up with the education program once we have our new person on board. The next item is in regards to the exhibition report. So again, I've briefly mentioned about the Bruce Roots Juried Art Show. So we have a great opportunity. Hopefully everyone received your invitations, and hopefully you'll be able to attend tomorrow from 2 to 4. We're looking at the opening happening 2 to 4 with the announcement of the first, second, third place winners, as well as honorable mentions taking place in and around 2:30. And everyone is welcome, so I'm hoping that you'll be able to attend that. that. We had some interesting pieces and some new artists, which were, it's really nice to see that throughout the county that we were able to get some new artists interested in that show as well. And we worked collaboratively with the Southampton Arts Centre on that project as well. Our programming update, just a little bit of a wrap-up. Of course, going into the end of the year, we were busy with winter programming, so we had our Victorian Tea, and we had our, it's a group of young Celtic dancers who weren't necessarily Victorian, but a group of young ladies who have performed at the museum many times, so they were able to join us for that, as well as our Memories of Christmas, and then of course our Visits with Santa. And this week in particular, we had, of course we were open for a period over the winter, over the Christmas holiday, and with this week being a week off for students, we had a number of activities planned for Winter Family Fun Days. We had great attendance on Tuesday when the weather wasn't so, when the weather was good, cooperating, and we did have other families coming in this week as well. So we'll be wrapping that programming up towards at the end of the day today. And then the last report that I wanted to bring forward was just kind of again, we're well into our second year of our 5-year strategic plan. And this document has really been a great grounding document in order to keep all of the museum staff and the team focused on the things that we need to be doing, as well as our business plan document as well. So just wanted to kind of highlight some of the areas where we've had some success and some of the accomplishments. Again, continuing to forge partnerships and relationships, as you can see from the work that we've been doing with the business plan report and the sponsorship report. These are pretty key to the success of what we do in order to maintain our relevance to the community that we serve and the communities that we serve. So we continue to work forward with the First Nations community. You know, we had another exhibition, a small exhibition of their work. The commitment to the redevelopment of the First Nations Gallery, and also the on loan, we loaned some of the artifacts from the Saugeen Rivermouth find to an external archaeological company so that they could do some further analysis of that, and that needed to be executed through the museum channel. So we were able to assist with that, which was a big help for that as well. In terms of developing inter-organizational programming and partnerships, you've seen through presentations that we're quite involved with the library. Looking to do further development with economic development as that comes along. But in terms of partners, we added a few new partners onto the list this year, with being our Institute for Canadian Citizenship with the Cultural Access Pass, and Real Canada, which is the national film company that we've been working with. On the education front, you know, the launch of the Education Advisory Group, which is critical component of our strategy, is well on its way. It had taken a little bit of a hiatus when our education coordinator had moved on, but we're really hopeful that when the new education coordinator comes on, she'll be able to pick that up fairly quickly. As far as continuing our outreach programming, we attended 42 venues outside the museum wall, so that was throughout the county. We were present at 42 opportunities, and this was an increase from 31 in 2015. In terms of the sustainable programming, we were able to create a sustainable program for exhibits, a 3-year horizon, and there'll be more news about that coming up in the next report. And we also were able to, Betty Ann had mentioned about the collection and the Past Perfect Online. So through the use of our digital strategy, we've been able to make the collection more accessible through the use of Past Perfect Online. So again, that's the documentation. We already do the process anyway. Now we're just adding that digital element and making it really more accessible for our public. Optimization of the use of space. Again, we've revised the collecting plan. Those plans are, again, founding documents for us, and we'll be looking at both collections and archives plans on a yearly basis. We completed the initial accommodation plan. We have initiated the feasibility study. We've centralized the offsite storage, and we continue the de-accessioning of appropriate collection and archival material. And we continue to do housekeeping at the museum as well. There have been a number of items that we have assets disposal that we have done over the course of the year, either for sale or through appropriate channels. The big thing, in my mind, one of the big things that is always something that we really need to keep front of mind is creating this county-wide awareness, as opposed to the vision of the museum being the Southampton Museum. So we continue to develop the county-wide marketing plan. Happy to say we now have a marketing person in place who started early December. And, we'll be looking at the new person taking a look at the plan we had and how we can improve it, where we can make changes and make recommendations moving forward. Little snapshot in terms of the membership analysis and what we see, which is not necessarily, this analysis was December 12th. It's not necessarily news to us, but the membership in particular seems to be increasing mainly in Saugeen Shores because of the proximity, and outside of Bruce County, and part of that I think is because of the awareness that we're building through the reciprocal admissions agreement with our other community museums, being Simcoe, Grey, Huron, and Waterloo. Okay. And that brings me to the end of the report, so I'd be happy to answer any questions or comments, take any comments.
Do you have a question, Ann? Seriously?
I have one comment. So I know a lot in Kincardine just think it's the Southampton Museum. And so I would be really glad if you could promote it more throughout the county. I was wondering, I don't know your strategic plan, but people always like a bargain. And so if you could have a week where Kincardine people can go free for that week and walk Brockton for another week and maybe get it up, because really, what is the rest of the county is only 20% that go to it, other than Southampton and the visitors.
Yeah.
So I think it's important when it's a county museum.
And absolutely. And I think one of the issues that we had when we looked at creating a county-wide awareness plan, one of the thought processes was to select 2 municipalities a year that we would really partner with, and not just partner with us going in, but partnering with the chambers, different businesses, BIAs, the municipality itself. It didn't necessarily happen. It didn't execute that well at this point, so that's where we now need to go back with the new marketing person and identify, is it better, do we do it that strategy still, or do we do it exactly like you're saying? Do we look at other ways to individually work with all of the municipalities? But it is absolutely what we need to do, and it is absolutely a priority for us in terms of making sure that everybody within all of the municipalities of the county understand that the Bruce County Museum and Cultural Center is a county facility, and it is there as their museum and as a resource for them as well. So that's a big priority for us. So we'd be happy to have further conversations as well with you if you have other ideas.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other?
Yeah.
But that pie chart was very helpful, but unless you got better glasses than I got, I was having trouble. The colors were,
okay. So I'll change we'll have the
too many colors were almost the same.
Maybe.
Plus I'm colorblind, that's why I'm a bad guy.
We'll next one, and that one of course is just in regards to membership. That's not it doesn't talk about visitors, overall visitation. So I think now that I said we have the new marketing person in place, we'll be really looking further at that. Yeah. Okay.
Any other comments or questions of Kathy at this time? If not, I think, is it motion to adjourn time, Kathy?
I think so.
Okay, great. That motion to adjourn, moved by Ann, second by Mitch. Any discussion on the motion? We're adjourned. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.